In ancient times, you wouldn't know. The pill I took every time after we made love was Plan B. Until one time I forgot to take it. When her period was 2 months late, I wanted to tell her the good news. But in my courtyard, behind a locust tree that connects to the past, I overheard her talking to another man. Luoyan, the pear blossom incense I gave you, is a drug to make men infertile. You've used it on him for 7 years. Are you really okay with him never having kids? My heart suddenly ached. The woman who told me she loved me last night threw out a cruel reply. There's nothing to be sad about. He's not one of us. He's an outsider after all. He doesn't deserve an heir in this life. My hand froze mid-air. I stood there, rooted to the spot. I could hardly believe my ears. I hurriedly left the gift at the study door and stumbled away. Back in the modern world, I went straight to a clinic to check my fertility, only to find out I was completely fine. Gripping the medical report, I slumped into a chair. That's when I realized my back was drenched in cold sweat. My body is fine. Did that ancient incense just not work on a modern guy like me? I couldn't figure it out, so I stopped thinking about it. At least my body is fine, which is a good thing. The day after I left the hospital, I signed a 100 million relocation agreement for the old courtyard. Since she couldn't give me a lifetime of loyalty, I'll let her have what she wants. Once I hand over the house in 9 days, I'll burn the locust tree. Without the portal for time travel, whoever she marries is none of my business. I didn't return to the courtyard until 3 days later. As soon as I walked in, I was pulled into a tight hug by a panicked Luoyan. Where did you go? Do you know how scared I was not seeing you? I've been going crazy waiting for you these past 2 days. But I can't leave this courtyard. Her teary eyes were full of deep affection. In the past, I would have definitely been moved. But now I don't know if she's genuinely worried about me, or just worried about losing the benefits I bring her. I looked up at her red, tear-filled eyes and asked calmly, what if I leave you one day? Her body stiffened. Why would you say that? When did you drop off the gift at the study yesterday? Did you hear something? I can explain. I shook my head and cut her off. I didn't hear anything. I just wasn't feeling well. So, I went back to the modern world and visited the hospital. Hearing this, she sighed in relief, but then quickly asked, what's wrong? Where does it hurt? Is it serious? I brushed it off. Just a minor cold. She held me, taking a long time to calm down, before saying with lingering fear, don't just leave the courtyard from now on. I get really worried when I can't see you. Her deep affection right now didn't seem fake at all. Suddenly, possessed by some impulse, I asked, since you can't live without me, why don't you stay in the modern world with me? Don't go back to Dayong. She instinctively rejected it. No, but, seeing my face turn pale, she explained, if I don't go back, what about the subordinates and soldiers who have followed me all these years? I can't just abandon my responsibilities. Is it that you can't abandon your responsibilities, or that you can't bear to let go of the throne that's almost yours? I lowered my eyes and didn't reply. She asked again, why do you suddenly want me to stay? Did something happen here? I shook my head, looking at the old locust tree nearby. Nothing. Just that this old tree's trunk is dying. I don't know how much longer this time tunnel will hold up. She sighed in relief and hugged me to comfort me. The tree here might be old, but the one in the Dayong Palace is still young. As long as it's there, I will never be separated from you. When I travel to Dayong, through the tree, most of the time, I do end up under a locust tree in the Dayong Palace, but I never told her that for the past 2 years. As long as I want to, I can travel to any other place in Dayong. The truth is, this modern tree controls the portal. Once this tree is burned down, the passage will be completely destroyed. She and I will never see each other again. But I had no intention of telling her any of this. For the next 3 days, she didn't come to the modern world. I bought firewood, prepared the gasoline, and waited to burn the tree tomorrow. Tonight, I had one last thing to do. To completely wipe out all ties between us. I started a fire under the tree and brought out a huge stack of marriage vows she'd written for me. Over these 7 years, every time we survived a near-death experience, she would write me a vow. Now, I have over 100 of them. I threw them into the fire one by one. When the fire was burning its fiercest, whoa, she suddenly stepped out of the old tree into the modern world. Seeing this, her heart skipped a beat, and she raised her hand, slapping away the last vow in my hand. What are you burning? Why is there so much firewood here? It's dangerous. Put it out. The last vow was knocked into the fire basin, and instantly engulfed by flames. It was clearly her handwriting on the envelope, but she didn't recognize it. I patted the ashes off my clothes, stood up, and changed the subject. Why are you here? She tightly held my hand and asked tentatively, Shu you. I was busy recovering these past 3 days, and didn't come to see you. Are you mad? I shook my head. She continued, were you scared by the assassins last time? The ancient world definitely isn't as safe as the modern one. If you're scared, don't go to Daeyong anymore. I pulled my hand back, my expression flat. How's your wound? She took my concern to heart, suppressing the uneasiness inside. Your medicine arrived right on time. I'm completely fine now. Having you is the greatest blessing of my life. Her acting is so half-hearted now. A stab to the chest, hurting muscles and bones. Even with modern medical care, you wouldn't be out of bed for 3 days. But here she is, perfectly fine. Does she think I'm an idiot? I didn't really want to deal with her. So, I intentionally said, aren't you marrying Huo Zisheng tomorrow? You shouldn't waste time here. Go back to Daeyong and get busy. My coldness stung her, making her even more reluctant to leave. Shi Yuan, tomorrow's wedding is just a mission. I want to spend more time with you. Just take me in for one more night, okay? Her pitiful look was exactly like the first time I met her. I looked away and stood up. The fridge is empty. I'm going to buy some grocery. Let's have a good meal tonight. She smiled obediently. Then I'll wait for you at home. I ran pretty far, and purposely bought a ton of food, planning to make a lavish dinner, to serve as our final farewell meal. But when I came back from grocery shopping, I found she had actually brought Huo Zisheng over too. Right now, she and Huo Zisheng were standing side by side in the yard, looking exactly like the master and mistress of the house. Huo Zisheng was mocking the place. This house isn't even as big as the outhouse at the Prime Minister's estate, staying in this courtyard, unable to go anywhere. It's quite boring. Saying that, he even kicked over the gasoline can nearby. My face darkened as I stepped in. If you're bored, then get the hell out. You're not welcome in my home. Seeing I was angry, Junluyan quickly pulled Huo Zisheng and scolded, stop messing around. I ignored them. Picking up the gasoline can, and seeing not much spilled out, I sighed in relief. But after she scolded Huo Zisheng, she turned around, saw the gasoline, and her face changed. Isn't this the highly flammable gasoline you told me about? And all this firewood here? Why is the gasoline still here? What if it catches fire and ruins the locust tree? I ignored her and walked into the kitchen with a cold face. She followed me inside to explain. Tomorrow is the wedding. I just went back to Daeyong to handle something. When I was leaving, Zisheng saw me and followed. I didn't expect Zisheng to be able to cross over too. Before, it was strictly just you and me. No one else could come over. I've never felt my heart turn so cold. Time traveling to the modern world was my biggest trump card. She kept insisting she was just using Huo Zisheng. Yet, She just like that handed over my biggest trump card to Huo Zishang. At this moment, I was incredibly thankful that I had already decided to cut ties with her. The next day at dawn, I got up early to hand over the house. Jun Luyan woke up, saw me sitting at the desk, put on her coat, and came to hug me from behind. I urged her coldly, "You're getting married this morning. If you don't head back to Daeyong now, you'll be late." She froze, biting her lip and looking at my reflection in the mirror. Her eyes dark and unreadable. "Shuyuan, don't go to Daeyong for a while. In a few days, I'll personally come pick you up." I nodded indifferently. She looked at my calm expression, and the uneasiness in her heart grew. Her intuition told her the man who loved her shouldn't act like this. At the very least, he shouldn't be so calm, urging her to go marry another man. "You know I love you. I can't bear to leave you at all. Don't push me away just because you're throwing a fit." Saying that, she took out a seal box from her pocket and handed it to me. "This is the Tiger Seal. It can command the 300 troops under my name. It's my lifeline. I'm giving it to you now. Believe me, you're the only one I love. You must wait for me to come back and get you." Her eyes were firm and stubborn, looking like she absolutely wouldn't leave unless I took it. I didn't want to waste time, so I finally nodded. I casually placed the seal on the table. "Okay, I'll wait for you." Getting my answer, she finally felt relieved. Looking back at me with every step, she left. Soon, it was 7:30 a.m. and the wealthy businessman arrived. He smiled and shook my hand. "Mr. Liu, after negotiating for so long, you're finally willing to sell this old house to me. The remaining 10 million for the house has already been wired to your account. Check your balance." I had indeed already received the bank notification. I smiled politely and handed him the house keys. At 7:40, I asked him to wait outside. I piled the firewood under the locust tree and poured the gasoline. At 7:55, I held the lighter, stood under the tree and muttered, "After today, we'll never see each other again. Let everything that happened over the past 7 years be a dream." As I spoke, the portal on the locust tree suddenly flashed white light like a movie playing. The white light showed Jun Luyan and Huo Zisheng's wedding. 10 miles of red decorations, phoenix crown and pearl cape. Jun Luyan, wearing a red princess gown embroidered with gold thread, stood shoulder to shoulder with Huo Zisheng in his red robe, accepting the worship of thousands. Surrounded by hundreds of maids and eunuchs behind them, they walked up step by step to the highest star-plucking tower in the palace. The beautiful sweet scene pierced my heart. First bow to heaven and earth. She and Huo Zisheng knelt down to revere the heavens. Second bow to the parents. The emperor and empress sitting above smiled warmly at them. An atmosphere of pure joy. Husband and wife bow to each other. She and Huo Zisheng smiled at each other, their eyes clearly filled with love for one another. At the same time the eunuch shouted. I sparked a lighter. The third bow ended exactly at 8:0, the moment Jun Luyan stood up. Across time and space, our eyes suddenly locked. The next second I resolutely dropped the lighter. The flames instantly shot into the sky, cutting off everything. The fire danced, swallowing every inch of the old locust tree. Its dry remains let out a crackling, sorrowful cry. In my daze, I seemed to see Jun Luyan in the grand hall, looking around in a panic. Her eyes were filled with panic and unease, but I still turned around without pausing. This love that crossed ancient and modern times is finally over. Daeyong, Princess, Palace. The master of ceremonies chant reached the final step. But Jun Luyan's heart suddenly ached. She subconsciously looked up and forward, and looked right into my tearful eyes. In an instant, Panic crawled through her entire body. Xu Yuan, the most familiar name in her heart, blurted out. She subconsciously stepped forward, but shattered an illusion. Wu Zisheng hurriedly grabbed her and whispered, "Princess." Junluoyan instantly snapped back. She composed herself. The wedding continued. But the uneasiness in her heart never faded. After greeting the officials who came to congratulate her, she rushed non-stop to the palace, where the locust tree used to be. But all she saw was a large crater under the cold moonlight, and that locust tree connecting the past and present was long gone. Junluoyan stumbled back a step, staring at everything in front of her in disbelief. Details she hadn't paid attention to surfaced in her mind, making her tremble all over. Firewood, gasoline, lighting a fire. But it's impossible. Xu Yuan promised me that he would wait for me to go back. He never breaks his word. She practically yelled the last sentence. Right then, Wu Ziseng rushed over. Seeing the big crater on the ground, a satisfied smile instantly appeared on his face. He knew Junluoyan only had me in her heart. Her promise to him was just a way to string him along, to get him and his family, to help her get the throne. But so what? Since he already knew Junluoyan was using the locust tree to go find me, he couldn't allow it to keep existing. Not only did he have someone burn the tree to ashes, he purposely had people dig this big crater, all to create a false trail, making Junluoyan think I had dug up the tree and taken it. He wanted to make sure Junluoyan and I could never see each other again in this lifetime. Dayong's only emperor consort could only be him. Wu Zisheng, reined in his emotions, walked up and supported Junluoyan. Your Highness, this Lu Zhuiyuan is truly full of schemes. He knows that today is our wedding day, which is crucial to your Highness's future. Yet at this critical moment, he pulls such a cheap little trick. Junluoyan clutched her chest, holding back the sharp pains shooting from her heart. She looked back at Huo Zisheng, her eyes filled with confusion. What did you say? What little trick? Huo Zisheng put on airs, acting like he saw through everything, and spoke with certainty. Your Highness, you are Dayong's regent princess, the future empress. What man in this world wouldn't want to marry you? Not to mention, Lu Zhuiyuan is just a lowly commoner from the future. Even if he were a prince of another country, being favored by your Highness is a supreme honor. In my opinion, this Lu Zhuiyuan clearly dug up the locust tree and hid it. He doesn't really want to leave you, although the tree was burned and disposed of by his men. I have to take the blame. Anyway, I'm practically dead now, and dead men tell no tales. Junluoyan's gaze was unfocused. What Hu Zisheng said did make a lot of sense, but she always felt that I wasn't the kind of man who craved power. Back when she had nothing in the cold palace, I still reached out to her and treated her with care. How could I be that kind of scheming, manipulative man? Before she could think further, she heard Huo Zisheng continue. Your Highness, think about it carefully. Lu Zhuiyuan has done so much for you. Could it really be without any selfish motives or expectations? As far as I know, your Highness has always promised to make him emperor consort once you ascend the throne. He definitely has an ulterior motive staying by your side. He probably did this today, just to ruin our wedding, and at the same time, test his place in your heart. I'm genuinely trying to help your Highness. No matter what position I hold by your side, I accept it willingly. But Lu Zhuiyuan's actions today lack all sense of decorum. If he can hide the tree today to make you anxious, who knows what else he might do in the future? In my opinion, you shouldn't rush to find him. It will only make him more arrogant and spoiled. Junluoyan's red lips formed a tight line, her hands clenched tightly into fists at her sides, her knuckles turning white. After a long time, she exhaled a heavy breath. Let's return to the palace. The night wind scattered the ashes of the locust tree. Junluoyan's mind cleared briefly, but her heart couldn't settle down. Her eyes were dark. She stood by the window looking at tonight's moonlight, but her thoughts drifted far away. What is Lu Shuyuan doing? Tonight is my wedding night with Huo Zisheng. Will he be sad? Thinking of this, she couldn't help but sigh. Never mind. Once everything in Dayong is handled, I'll go to the modern world and explain everything to him properly. I'll get him some casual gifts then. He'll eventually cool down. Just as she was thinking this, Huo Zisheng's voice came from behind. Your Highness, it's time to drink the nuptial cup. Junluoyan snapped back to reality, but the feeling of loss in her chest still hadn't dissipated. She suppressed the discomfort in her heart, returned to the table, and took the wine cup Huo Zisheng offered. Huo Zisheng smiled and toasted her. Your Highness, from now on, we share honor and disgrace. Junluoyan remained silent. She nodded and downed the wine in one gulp. Only, my face unconsciously appeared in her mind. When we got married, I also, just like Huo Zisheng, handed her a cup of wine. But, what did I say? I said I only hope we can be together all our lives. One life, one love, just the two of us. Back then, she gladly agreed. She had never seen a man like that in Dayong before. Free and unrestrained, knowledgeable, capable. His head was full of endless novel ideas that hooked her, making her want to explore more and more. To her, whether it was the modern locust tree courtyard or me, it was all a rare serendipity. She thought that as long as we were together, she could eventually change me, change my delusional idea of one life, one love. Which princess in Dayong doesn't have countless male concubines? When she ascends the throne, let alone a harem of 3-0, at least the balance of power in the court and harem still needed to be considered. But it didn't matter. She was willing to stay in the locust tree courtyard and be an ordinary couple with me. Your Highness, it's time for bed. A smile appeared on Huo Zisheng's handsome face as he tugged at Junluoyan's sash, but she subconsciously took a step back and refused. I'm pregnant right now. I need to rest well. You sleep in the study tonight. With that, she was about to push him out the door, but Huo Zisheng looked aggrieved and spoke up to stop her. Your Highness, are you going to find that lowly Lu Juyuan? Junluoyan paused, a flash of impatience on her face. But when she turned back, she was smiling. She sat back down beside Huo Zisheng. Of course not. You're overthinking. I still have a lot of state affairs to handle. Besides, didn't I promise you, after we're married, I won't let Lu Juan come to Dayong anymore. Until the child is born, I won't distract myself by seeing him. Hearing this, Huo Zisheng's face couldn't help but show a smug smile. He didn't notice the coldness in Junluoyan's eyes at all. He smiled and said, Your Highness, you know, I'm not a petty person. Speaking of which, even though Lu Juan is of lowly birth, his cooking is really good, much better than the royal chefs in the palace. Ever since I had it last time, I can't stop thinking about it. If Your Highness wants to visit him, just go ahead. Just don't forget to tell him to make me some food. Huo Zisheng looked innocent, and Junluoyan was happy to indulge him. Okay, if you want to eat it, you have to wait until I find the old locust tree first. After saying that, her slightly relaxed brows furrowed again. I don't know where Lu Shuyuan moved the locust tree to. All the land under heaven belongs to the king. Once Your Highness ascends the throne, are you really afraid you won't be able to find a mere tree? Huo Zisheng stared intently at Junluoyan, his full lips showing a hint of impatience. Your Highness, it's our wedding night. You aren't really going to be that cruel, are you? Don't worry, I'll be very gentle. Wu Zisheng's eyes darkened as he pushed Jun Luoyan onto the bed, and she didn't refuse again. The bed curtains fell, hiding a world of passion. Meanwhile, in the modern world, I've already moved to my new place. A high-end apartment downtown. Over 100 square meters. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city's night view. I can see higher and further than from Daeong's star-plucking tower. I sat in a lounge chair wearing a bathrobe. The pitch-black night sky was filled with twinkling stars, almost within reach. The scene of burning the old locust tree today lingered before my eyes. I closed my eyes. Sinking into the soft chair, sleepiness took over. I quickly fell asleep. In my dream, I seemed to have returned to the Daeong Palace, back to Jun Luoyan and Huo Zisheng's wedding. I was pinned to the ground, watching them both in their elaborate royal attire, completing the wedding step by step. I saw Jun Luoyan looking down at me from above, her eyes like she was looking at an insignificant ante, with arrogant contempt. Lu Shuyuan, you're nothing but a lowly commoner from the future, and you still want to be my husband. That's simply wishful thinking. What one life, one love. I am the most noble woman in all of Daeong. How could I only have one man? To tell you the truth, if I had left the Locust Tree Courtyard I would have unified the past and present long ago. Why would I waste my time on a lowly commoner like you? I saw Huo Zisheng holding a child, standing smugly beside Jun Luoyan. You didn't really think Luoyan actually liked you, did you? Everything she did was just to use you. She just wanted to use your modern resources to become the empress, and her emperor consort can only be me. Our child is born the crown prince, while you, this lowly commoner, get absolutely nothing. After finishing, as if Huo Zisheng still hadn't vented his anger, he fiercely waved his sleeve. Man, chop off the hands and feet of this lowly commoner from the future. Pour poison down his throat, cut off his ears, gouge out his eyes. I'm going to make him into a human swine. Instantly, countless hands reached out to me. I wanted to hide but couldn't escape. In terror, I struggled and reached out to Jun Luoyan for help. No, Luoyan, save me, save me. But she was no longer that innocent, youthful girl. She was wearing a black dragon robe, affectionately hugging Huo Zisheng, not even sparing me a single glance. A lowly commoner isn't worth you getting so angry. You are the most noble emperor consort in all of Daeong. No one can defy you. Saying that, her gaze faintly swept over me on the ground. She picked up a knife herself. The person who once blocked knives and swords for me was personally raising one against me. No, I jolted awake. My back was covered in cold sweat, clutching my chest, panting heavily. My eyes were full of terror. Even though the Jun Luoyan in my dream was vastly different from the person I knew, I was still deeply shaken. Royalty and commoners over 1,000 years of history. The feudal hierarchy engraved in their bones clashing with modern free thinking, using marriage as a bargaining chip for benefits, against the romantic ideal of one life, one love. I ran my fingers through my hair, and couldn't help but laugh bitterly at myself. Lu Juyuan, how overly confident were you? To think Jun Luoyan would stay with you forever. There were clearly so many impossibilities between you two. It wasn't something you could force. 3 months later, Jun Luoyan's temper grew increasingly explosive. At first, she thought I was just throwing a tantrum, which is why she stubbornly believed the locust tree in the palace was hidden away. But over the past 3 months, she searched all the locust trees in the palace, big and small, but none of them were like before, able to bring her to me. She sat at her desk, the memorial under her pen already stained with ink. Just then, the retro eye care lamp on the desk went out. Jun Luoyan, put down the pen in frustration, and ordered the eunuch to get batteries. The eunuch bowed his head and arched his back, reporting back with a troubled expression, "Your Highness, the batteries in the palace are all used up." Hearing this, Junluoyan paused, suppressing her intense displeasure, frowned, and waved the eunuch away. She stood up and walked out of the hall aimlessly, unknowingly arriving at the location of the locust tree. New grass had already grown in the crater. The ground had leveled out quite a bit. Deep in her heart, a lingering dull ache suddenly surfaced. She clenched her hand in her sleeve. "Shu Yuan, where exactly did you hide? Are you so angry that you refuse to let me find you for 3 months?" She looked down, and her eyes suddenly caught a glimpse of a charred tree root exposed in the grass. Junluoyan's heart trembled violently. A bad thought crossed her mind. Ignoring everything else, she immediately squatted down and dug through the soil with her bare hands. More of the burnt root was exposed. The remaining half was buried deep in the dirt. Junluoyan suddenly panicked. "Men, dig up this crater for me." The workers ran over in a panic, and, under Junluoyan's command, dug up that piece of ground. Several hours later, a charred tree root buried deep underground was completely unearthed. Compared to the one in the locust tree courtyard, this locust tree in the palace wasn't really that big. The trunk wasn't even as thick as a bowl. Junluoyan never expected such a frail tree to have such a complex and strong root system. So much so that, when it was entirely revealed before her, all her previous assumptions seemed so absurd. Her eyes were red, the hands in her sleeves trembling uncontrollably. Her heart was pounding so hard, it felt like it would jump out of her chest. The veins on her tense forehead slightly bulged. After a long time, she finally squeezed a sentence through her teeth. "Who did this? Find out exactly who had the audacity to commit arson in the palace." Her lips trembled, almost unable to articulate the rest. "How dare they? How dare they destroy my locust tree?" Destroy. Suddenly my words flashed through her mind. Junluoyan stumbled a step. She suddenly remembered. I seemed to have said I would destroy the old locust tree. Even though I denied it later, she had indeed heard it. Impossible. How could it be Zhu Yuan? He loves me so much. How could he bear to leave me? Impossible. It couldn't be him. We've been to so many places together. We've been together for 7 years. She muttered to herself, constantly comforting herself. But scene after scene in her mind was all my coldness, resolute, and perfunctory looks. Right then, the old eunuch who had always supervised this area was brought over by the guards. He knelt on the ground, terrified, trembling so much he couldn't speak clearly. "Your Highness the Princess, forgive me. I was just following orders." Before he could finish, Junluoyan kicked him hard. Her fury surged, her aura intimidating. "Speak! What do you know?" The old eunuch was frightened out of his wits. Soiling himself, "It's the Emperor Consort. The Emperor Consort made me do it. He said seeing this locust tree in the palace is an eyesore, and it must be completely removed on the wedding day. That's the only reason I had the guts to burn the tree, and I dug the crater according to his orders. If I wasn't ordered to, even if I had the courage of a bear and a leopard, I still wouldn't dare touch anything in the palace recklessly." Junluoyan felt a wave of dizziness. She slowly spat out a name, Huo Zisheng. The next second, she tasted copper in her throat and spat out a mouthful of blood, splattering onto the locust tree roots. Immediately after, her vision went black, and she collapsed to the ground. When she opened her eyes again, the scene before Junluoyan had completely changed. Over a dozen buildings taller than the star-plucking tower stood majestically. Steel and concrete were everywhere. She stood up from the greenbelt, rubbing her aching head. Before she could figure out her current situation, she saw a familiar figure appear across the street. Overjoyed, she quickly waved. Shu Yuan, Shu Yuan. The familiar call of a lifetime seemed to travel through time and space. I snapped my head around, only to see Jun Luoyan, who shouldn't have been here at all, standing disheveled across the street, staring at me intently. The pain in her eyes was too obvious. The moment our eyes met, my heart also felt a stab of pain for a second, but only for a second. I quickly accepted the fact that Jun Luoyan had reappeared, but I ignored her, calmly, turning around and loading the things in my hands into the trunk. The modern world has towering skyscrapers, cars, traveling 1,000 miles a day. Leaving that little courtyard was just the beginning of Jun Luoyan drifting rootless. Seeing me get in the car, Jun Luoyan instantly got anxious. Ignoring the heavy traffic ahead, she jumped over the guardrail and ran toward me. For a moment, piercing honks resounded throughout the intersection. Are you looking to die? Can't you see the cars? So annoying, you crazy cosplay people, wearing ancient clothes. Do you really think you're a fairy who can fly? Jaywalking, have you no manners? If you dash over here again for insurance fraud, I'll call the cops on you. Running into a crazy person like you is such bad luck. The jaywalking Jun Luoyan was surrounded by drivers who had slammed on their brakes. A barrage of insults hit her head-on. But since leaving the cold palace, when had she ever experienced something like this? Her beautiful brows immediately furrowed, and she yelled coldly, "Insolent! How dare you block my path? Move aside at once." As soon as she said this, the crowd became even more furious. The entire road was completely blocked. Jun Luoyan's patience ran out. She pushed through the crowd and leaped onto the roof of a car. But I had already started the car and driven away. I glanced indifferently in the rearview mirror at the drivers swarming her and pulling a struggling Jun Luoyan down from the car roof. I smirked mockingly. Jun Luoyan, coming to the modern world without your privileges is when you'll truly find it hard to move an inch. Meanwhile, at the police station, take out your ID card. To register you. The officer held a pen and reached out to Jun Luoyan. Jun Luoyan frowned and hesitantly fidgeted with her clothes. I don't have an ID card. The two officers exchanged a look and got up to take Jun Luoyan to verify her identity. But strangely, whether it was facial recognition, fingerprint matching, or biometric verification, none of them could find her household registration info. That's weird. Facial recognition, fingerprints, DNA. We can't find anything. She couldn't have just popped out of some deep mountain forest, could she? Doesn't look like it. Look at that elaborate embroidery. Maybe she's a time traveler. Nonsense. Think you're in a TV show. The two officers were completely baffled, holding the report forms, joking around, while continuing to investigate Jun Luoyan's identity. Finally, based on the surveillance video at the intersection and statements from several drivers, the police contacted me. Hello, is this Lu Shuiyuan? I'm an officer from the Shilai police station. Could you please cooperate and come down to identify someone? Half an hour later, now a law-abiding citizen, I reluctantly showed up at the Shilai police station. As soon as I walked in, I saw Jun Luoyan in her dark dress, sitting with a cold face in the lobby, on a blue plastic chair. She exuded an aura of do not approach. It was as if what she was sitting on right now wasn't a row of chairs meant to put her on an equal footing with commoners, but the dragon throne overlooking the world. Power truly nurtures people. She didn't look anything like that destitute princess from the cold palace anymore. I sighed to myself when Jun Luoyan's gaze casually swept over me. Her gloomy eyes finally lit up. She abruptly stood up. Shu Yuan. Jun Luoyan hurried forward in 2 strides and threw herself into my arms. The familiar scent of lily of the valley filled my nose. I frowned and instinctively tried to push her away, but she hugged me tighter, wishing she could embed me into her bones. Yun Luyan choked out. Xu Yuan, I finally found you. Do you know how much I missed you? How scared I was. I was so terrified I'd never see you again. My eyes turned grim, and I said coldly, "Let go of me first." The freezing tone stunned Jun Luyan. She slowly let go, her eyes full of confusion. "Xu Yuan, how could you?" Before she could even finish, I had already stepped back twice, walking straight to the officer beside us, asking knowingly, "Excuse me, officer, who am I supposed to identify here today?" The officer was confused by my question. He looked at me, then at Jun Luyan, his eyes full of doubt. He pointed his finger back and forth between us for a while, and finally asked, "You guys don't know each other?" Hearing this, Jun Luyan immediately stepped forward and grabbed my wrist. "Of course we know each other. He's my... I don't know her." Jun Luyan's unfinished words were choked off by my cold, "I don't know her," stuck in her throat, unable to be swallowed or spat out. Her face grew paler, her lips trembled, but in the end, she said nothing, just gripping my wrist, refusing to let go. The officer sensed the weird atmosphere between us, chuckled nervously, and pointed at Jun Luyan, asking me, "This person doesn't have a household registration record. Do you know her identity information? If you don't know either, we'll hand her over to the Civil Affairs Department for assistance and placement. Then we'll help her apply for household registration later." I pursed my lips and nodded. "I've only seen her a few times. I don't know if she has a hukao. She told me her name is Jun Luyan. I don't know anything else." Hearing me say this, a flash of pain crossed Jun Luyan's eyes. "Xu Yuan, we depended on each other for 7 years. How can you say you don't know me well? You know everything about me. I am Daeyong's 7th princess." "Stop." I looked up, interrupting her. I was afraid if she kept talking, she wouldn't just need an ID. She'd need a psychiatric evaluation too. "I know you like acting like an ancient person, but this is a police station. You need to cooperate with the police. They will take good care of you." With that, I shook off Jun Luyan's hand. She wanted to chase after me, but the officer stopped her. "All right, stop running around. We'll talk about everything after we get your ID sorted out." Watching my figure get further and further away, Jun Luyan finally took a deep breath and pulled her hand back. She composed herself, suppressing the swirling emotions in her chest. She muttered, "Xu Yuan said that in the modern world, everyone needs a legal identity. It will be much easier to find him once I have an ID card." Thinking of this, Xu Luyan patiently sat down in the police station. I got home and took off my coat, a bit annoyed. My phone rang unexpectedly. I picked it up and saw that the person video calling me was a good bro I hadn't seen in years. Most of the gloom in my heart cleared up. I rubbed my stiff cheeks, put on a smile, and answered the video call. My bro's face quickly appeared on the screen. Guess where I am? Looking at the huge airport behind my bro and the domestic arrivals sign, I excitedly sat straight up from the sofa. "Damn, Yezi, why didn't you tell me you were coming back so I could pick you up, bro?" Liu Yi, dragging several suitcases. His chest. "No need. Send me your new address. I'll be right there. This time, don't even think about hiding that wife you've been secretly married to for 7 years." My face fell. "After a long while," I said, "there is no secret wife anymore. We're over." Liu Yi on the phone screen suddenly paused. He frowned, his face full of shock. "What do you mean over? Broke up? Divorced? Fell out of love? The 7-year itch?" Then, His tone abruptly shifted. Don't tell me she cheated on you with some bastard. You wait. I'm coming right now to help you teach her a lesson. Before he even finished, Liu Yi hurriedly hung up the phone. I knew with his impulsive personality, he'd probably be here very soon. Sure enough, an hour later, someone pounded loudly on my door, holding a spatula in my hand. As soon as I opened the door, I was pulled into a big bear hug by Liu Yi, bags and all. Liu Yi grabbed my shoulders and turned me around and around, looking me up and down carefully. How are you? That scumbag woman didn't bully you, did she? Let me look at you. How did you lose so much weight? Don't tell me you've been pining away and wasting away because of her. I got dizzy from him spinning me. Quickly slapped his hands away and laughed helplessly. All right. The food in the pan is going to burn soon. Liu Yi finally had to let go. But soon, his eyes lit up and he exclaimed, Smells so good. Xu Yuan, how come I feel like after 7 years, your cooking has gotten even better? You have no idea. When I was eating dry bread every day abroad, how much I missed you. That dry old man stuff. Dry bread. I almost turned into a dry little boy. As Liu Yi spoke, he carried a 30-inch suitcase in each hand and familiarly carried them into my house. I looked at his tanned skin and muscular arms and didn't respond to his claim. Soon, Liu Yi's luggage was put away and my food was ready too. At the table, Liu Yi ate 3 bowls in a row, then finally let out a long breath of satisfaction and drank a huge glass of cola. I habitually put his favorite dishes in his bowl and couldn't help but ask out of concern. Didn't you say you were studying abroad for 3 years? Why are you only coming back now? Hearing this, Liu Yi's expression changed. Looking worn out by life, he looked up and sighed deeply. Those 3 years of studying abroad were the longest 7 years of my past 5 years. Xu Yuan, you know what? I was this close to dropping out and coming back. You have no idea how I got through these past 7 years. Liu Yi talked while crying. The trash can under the table was quickly filled. In between moments of sorrow, he didn't forget to take the time to eat the shrimp I peeled for him and the deboned fish. The two of us chatted enthusiastically, completely oblivious to the time passing. Meanwhile, Jun Luoyan, with the help of the police, finished making her ID card, given that she was an able-bodied adult female with no mental illness. The Civil Affairs Department didn't offer her any special assistance. She held her ID card, standing in the middle of the bustling street, completely lost. A sweet aroma wafted through the air. Her stomach growled embarrassingly. Since last night, she had been reviewing memorials in the study, without eating. After coming to the modern world, she hadn't even had time for a sip of water. Following the scent, she found a bakery up ahead. There was a tasting cart set up in front, with many people queuing up. She joined the middle of the line, seeing that the person managing the cart would give everyone a small bowl with a tiny piece of food inside. Jun Luoyan guesses was probably similar to the relief stations, giving out porridge in ancient Dayong. After waiting a long time, it was finally Jun Luoyan's turn. The clerk enthusiastically handed her a small piece of butter rice cake, smiling broadly. New product tasting. If you like it, welcome to come in and buy a tea. $9.90 for a box. She frowned, looking at the fingernail-sized cake in the small bowl, and couldn't help but say, Do you modern people only give alms in such small portions? The smile on the clerk's face froze. She looked Jun Luoyan up and down, and finally forced a smile and gave her another piece. Sorry, miss, here's another piece for you. Jun Luoyan pursed her lips, looking at the 2 small pastries in the bowl. She said nothing and hesitated to move. She used to have a hard time in the cold palace, and had suffered her fair share of beatings and scoldings from maids and eunuchs. So it wasn't like she couldn't do this kind of thing, it's just that she was now the regent princess, and would soon be the empress of Daeong. If people knew that upon coming to the modern world, she actually had to beg for food so undignifiedly, it would be a total loss of face. Thinking of this, she turned to leave, only to be scoffed at disdainfully by an old man behind her. Such a young girl? Perfectly capable, freeloading food here endlessly. They gave you a piece to taste. If you like it, buy it. If you don't, leave. Are you standing here waiting to get full? Young people nowadays have no manners. And you have the nerve to mock us old folks. Fighting for eggs in the supermarket, the old man rolled his eyes to the heavens. Being lectured like this by an old commoner from the future. Jun Luyan's face turned red and white. Finally, unable to bear the humiliation, she slammed the 2 pastries back down, then turned on her heel and left. The clerk quickly caught them, preventing those 2 pieces from mixing with the others. "Hey, miss!" Before the clerk could finish, the old man behind waved his hand, interrupting. "No manners at all. Let her go. Let me try some. If it's good, I'll bring 2 boxes back for my wife." Jun Luyan wandered the streets aimlessly. In the past, guarding that little locust tree courtyard, when I told her how advanced the outside world was, how developed, and how bustling it was, she always listened with a playful attitude. In her view, Daeong's imperial city was the most bustling place in the world. Even if the modern world had many things Daeong didn't, it could never be as amazing as I described. In fact, many times, she felt I was exaggerating, just to make her unable to leave me, or to get her to stay in the modern world with me for the sake of its prosperity. But now, surrounded by the city's towering skyscrapers, she finally realized how insignificant she was. This world has no emperor, and seemingly no class hierarchy. The power she once held was meaningless here. Not only did it not get her any special treatment, it only drew dirty looks. No one would believe that she was a person from ancient Daeong. The summer breeze wasn't actually cold, but Jun Luyan still shivered and pulled her clothes tighter. She found a sheltered spot under a bridge to sit down. When she was taken to the police station, she rode in that iron box that could travel 1,000 miles a day. Every road in the city looked the same. She could no longer remember the intersection where she first ran into me. Back at my house, Liu Yi and I were deep in conversation, completely losing track of time. Liu Yi, in one breath, told me almost everything that happened abroad over the past 7 years. Most of it was about his studies, failing classes, and retaking them. When he finished talking about himself, he finally found a moment to grab my hand. "I'm done with my stuff. Now it's your turn to tell yours. That scumbag ex-wife of yours, who you were secretly married to for 7 years, and then cheated on you. What exactly happened?" My hand paused. I lowered my head somewhat desolately. After a long time I took a deep breath and said, "Yeezy, tell me, is there really no pure affection in this world? Is every intimate relationship mixed with exploitation?" Liu Yi was taken aback by my question. He raised his hand and scratched his head in confusion. "You're hitting my blind spot here. I've been single since birth. What do I know about all this lovey-dovey stuff? Although I spent 7 years abroad and saw plenty of exotic beauties, all my energy was focused on how to graduate early and come back to China. I didn't say anything else." Sensing the pain in my eyes, Liu Yi gave a dry laugh. He picked up his phone and made a call. While waiting, he didn't forget to explain to me, "Even though I don't know if there's any pure affection between people, without any ulterior motives, I'm sure there's one person who definitely knows. Perhaps because it was too late. The phone rang a few times but didn't connect. Liu Yi anxiously scratched his head, muttering nonstop, "Pick up the phone, pick up the phone. Aren't you usually such a chatterbox?" Dropping the ball at a crucial moment, Liu Yi nervously observed my expression, while persistently redialing. Finally, after he dialed the number for the third time, the call connected. The woman on the other end spoke with a teasing smile. "What's up? Calling me this late? Don't tell me you failed another class." Liu Yi cleared his throat and shot me a look. "All right, Sun Yue. We're childhood friends who grew up together. Stop making fun of me. Let me ask you something. Have you been in touch with Xu Yuan recently?" At the mention of my name, the other side fell silent for a moment. Even Sun Yue's voice softened considerably, inadvertently revealing a hint of nervousness. "I heard Xu Yuan got a girlfriend, so I haven't bothered him. Did something happen?" Sun Yu sounded hesitant, but Liu Yi almost burst out laughing. He forced his hand over his mouth and pointed at the phone, signaling me to listen carefully. "Oh man, how could you not contact him? I'm telling you, something huge happened to Xu Yuan. He got conned into marriage by a scumbag. That horrible woman cheated on him and lied to him for 7 years. She swindled all his money, and now I can't even reach him." "What?" A gasp of shock erupted from the other end of the line, followed by the sounds of sheer chaos. She seemed to be frantically throwing on her shoes and clothes. Then came the sudden slam of a door. Her voice was mixed with messy footsteps and panting. "Do you have Xu Yuan's latest address? He sold the Locust Tree Courtyard a while ago. I don't know where he lives now." "Forget it. You're abroad and busy graduating. You definitely don't know much either. I'm hanging up. Let me see if I can contact him." Before she even finished, Liu Yi's call was hastily cut off. Immediately after, my phone sitting beside me rang. 2 characters flashed on the caller ID, Sun Yue. Seeing the familiar name, a flash of confusion crossed my face. Liu Ye, Sun Yue, and I grew up together. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say the 3 of us wore the same pantsuit, but how could I not understand Liu Yi's hint? Could it be? As if to confirm my guess, I frowned and looked at Liu Ye, continuing to ask, "Yezi, are you saying Sun Yu likes me?" Liu Yi nodded vigorously like a garlic pounder. "Back then, when the 3 of us played together, wasn't it always you playing the dad, her the mom, and me playing your son? When I was a kid, I really thought you 2 would get married when you grew up, but who would have thought? You became a house renovation vlogger, and after buying that old courtyard, everything changed. On your birthday that year, which was also the last birthday I celebrated with you before I went abroad, Sun Yue and I bought flowers and a cake to come see you. We were planning to celebrate with you and help her confess her feelings to you. But who knew? The moment we walked up to your courtyard gate, we heard the sound of you talking to a woman inside. You have no idea. Sun Yue was standing at the door, almost crying. So I didn't go in either. Speaking of this, Liu Yi always felt regretful. If I had known back then that you were just dating such a scumbag, I would have busted the door down and broken you 2 up no matter what. The phone rang over and over again. Occasional WeChat voice messages popped up, mixed with anxious concern. "Xu Yuan, don't do anything stupid. There's no hurdle you can't overcome. Think about your parents, and me, and Liu Yi. Could you really bear to leave us behind? Xu Yuan, please, answer the phone. Where are you? I'll come find you right now. I don't have your new address. I'm sorry. I should have cared more about you. It's my fault for being too cowardly. Xu Yuan, Yuan, please, Please let me find you, okay? Listening to the voice messages playing on my phone, Liu Yi shook his head repeatedly. I never thought our usually calm and composed talented girl would have moments of such panic and helplessness. You have no idea how awful this woman is. Back then, I was so afraid of failing my classes and delaying my graduation. I had to ask her for help, and she actually mocked me. Now that I have the chance, don't blame me for getting my revenge. I kept frowning, truly unable to imagine that Sun Yu actually liked me. After hesitating for a moment, I answered the phone. No contact for 7 years had long made us strangers. I tentatively uttered, "Hello." The other side went quiet for a second, followed by a sigh of immense relief. Sun Yue laughed with a hoarse voice, like a sigh, like a celebration, but mostly like surviving a disaster. "Xu Yuan, you scared me to death." I quietly cleared my throat. "I'm fine. Sorry for making you worry." Sun Yue let out a long breath, paused for a moment and asked, "Where do you live now? I'll come over and check on you. Do you want to call Lu Yu back? He couldn't reach you earlier and was really anxious." After saying that, she added, "The new butter rice cakes seem to be selling really well recently. I'll buy 2 boxes for you to try." Hearing this, I instinctively looked at Liu Ye, afraid he'd be exposed when Sun Yu arrived. But Liu Ye didn't care at all, laughing so hard he couldn't stand straight. He yelled into the phone, "Bring a few more boxes. I just got back and haven't tried this new stuff. I want 2 boxes." Sun Yue was stunned again, but quickly realized that Liu Yi was messing with her on purpose. She gritted her teeth, forced a smile, and said bitterly, "All right, how dare you rope Xu Yuan into tricking me? Just watch me squeeze a whole tube of wasabi into your butter rice cakes." Liu Yi wasn't one to back down. He slammed the table and stood up. "If you dare put wasabi in my butter rice cakes, I'll tell Xu Yuan all the embarrassing things you've done over the years. I'm Xu Yuan's best bro. You better know your place. Don't offend me easily." Sun Yu and Liu Yi never got along since they were kids. They'd start bickering the moment they met. I was long used to this. Once Sun Yue hung up, Liu Yi immediately leaned in and slung an arm around my shoulder. "I'm telling you, don't be fooled by Sun Yue's good girl act. She's actually super sneaky. When you were in school, all those little girls who wrote you love letters, she intercepted them all. I just helped deliver one to you, and she held a grudge against me, always causing me trouble. I told her if she liked you, she should hurry up and chase you. But she insisted on waiting until you liked her back. And look what happened. She waited and waited for over 20 years. And just when she finally psyched herself up, someone else had already snatched you away. On the day she was going to confess, she saw you with another woman. And later she heard you got married. Even if she had the feelings, she had her moral boundaries. I pursed my lips and clenched my fists. The birthday Liu Yu mentioned that year was the first time I saw Jun Luoyan. I can't say if it was pity or love at first sight, but towards Jun Luoyan, I always felt a different kind of emotion. This emotion made me ignore how disheveled Jun Luoyan was when we first met, and also ignore her using me time and time again after that. I sighed. 7 years. The time I've spent on Jun Luoyan has been long enough. For the rest of my life, I want to live for myself, and live every day well for the people around me. Seeing me zone out, Liu Yi still didn't give up. He pressed on. "Xu Yuan, tell me what really happened between you and that scumbag woman. I'm your best bro. I have the right to know first. I can't find out at the same time as Sun Yu. That's too embarrassing." My gaze lightly swept over the city's night view outside the window. I don't know how to explain it. She and I are not from the same world. There was never going to be a future for us. Everything before was just me failing to see clearly, being too stubborn. But I've figured it out now, and I've decided to let her go. Not from the same world. Liu Yi chewed on those words and gasped. She couldn't be some super rich heiress, could she? Otherwise, considering our family's backgrounds, two different worlds. She couldn't be a penniless pauper, right? As we were talking, the doorbell rang. 2 moderate rings, sounding very polite. I walked to the door. As soon as I opened it, I saw Sun Yu, whom I hadn't seen for 7 years. She hadn't changed much from when she was a girl, just more mature and elegant. She seemed to have left in a hurry. Her hair wasn't blow-dry, hanging wetly on her shoulders. She had thrown a coat haphazardly over her loungewear, and was even wearing slippers. Realizing her inappropriate state, Sun Yue subconsciously took half a step back. The tips of her ears turned red. She nervously tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, and, finally, chose to throw the blame onto Liu Ye. It's all Liu Yi's fault, telling me you were devastated by a breakup. Couldn't be found. Couldn't be reached. I got so worried I just rushed out like this. Saying that, she held out the paper bag in her hand. These are butter rice cakes. I noticed a lot of dessert shops are making them. So I picked the one that looked the most delicious. Try it. After saying that, she shot Liu Yi a nasty glare. Bought you 2 boxes. Eat up and shut your mouth. I took the bag, trying not to laugh, and stepped aside to let Sun Yu in. Don't just stand at the door. Yeezy just got back today. Come in and talk. Before I could finish, a figure suddenly rushed out from the fire escape behind Sun Yu. Before I could see clearly, someone hugged me. Shu Yuan, it's really you. Thank goodness. I finally found you. The familiar scent filled my nose. I instinctively pushed the person away. Sun Yue and Liu Yi were startled by this sudden turn of events. They immediately pulled me back, then harshly yelled, "Who are you? Stay away from Zhu Yuan. I'm warning you. If you don't leave, I'm calling the cops." Jun Luyan looked at my eyes full of cold alienation, and felt a sharp pain in her heart. She trembled, trying to explain anxiously, "Shu Yuan, I know you're mad at me. I know it's my fault for not coming to find you these past 3 months. It's my fault, but I didn't mean to. Wu Zisheng ordered someone to burn the locust tree, and he dug a crater to trick me into thinking you hid the tree. I really didn't avoid coming to see you on purpose. Please forgive me, okay?" Jun Luyan's gaze was sincere. The heartbreak and sorrow in her eyes didn't seem fake. She reached out to grab me, but Sun Yu, standing beside me, swatted her hand away. "What are you doing?" Looking at the woman blocking her way. A sense of crisis instantly flared up in Jun Luyan's heart. She smoothed her sleeves and sternly scolded, "Who do you think you are? You dare block my path?" Hearing this, even the usually thick-skulled Liu Yi was dumbfounded. His mouth twitched. "Shu Yuan, this ancient-style girl couldn't be your scumbag ex-wife of 7 years, could she? When we were living together in the locust tree courtyard, I didn't think much of it. After all, Jun Luoyan really was a princess from ancient Dayong. But right now, at my doorstep, with 2 childhood friends present, I actually felt my face burning with embarrassment. Jun Luoyan, this is not Dayong. No one will acknowledge you as a princess here. You're not welcome here. Please, leave." I said this with a cold, expressionless face. Luoyan's heart felt a sharp stab. She looked at me in disbelief. Her lips trembled for a long time before she uttered helplessly, "Shu Yuan, you don't want me anymore." "Why?" As she spoke, her gaze landed on Sun Yue's face. "Is it because of this woman? Just for a modern commoner. You don't want me anymore. Shu Yuan, We've been together for 7 years. Is this relationship something you can just throw away so casually? I know you didn't want me to marry Huo Zisheng, but that was just a temporary measure. If I want to take the throne, I must have the Prime Minister's support. I promised you, once I ascend the throne, you'll be my only emperor consort. Why wouldn't you just wait for me? Liu Yi's anger flared up. He didn't care about any emperor or princess stuff, but he heard loud and clear that the woman in front of him dumped his best bro to marry another man. His anger was burning fiercely right now. He couldn't help stepping forward, pointing at Jun Luoyan's nose and cursing, "You stinking scumbag." Quite the actress. Going on about princesses and thrones. Show us your real power then. A cheating, stinking scumbag still has the nerve to ask us why Yu Yuan dumped you. A crazy person like you should be locked up in a mental hospital for 10 days or half a month. Looking at Liu Ye, a completely unfamiliar face. As the noble regent princess of a nation, she had already endured too much criticism today. Her patience had long run out. She frowned tightly, the air around her rapidly freezing, exuding a chilling aura. Insolent! Who gave you permission to speak to me like this? If it weren't for the fact that you're a friend of Zhu Yuan, you'd be sentenced to death right now. Before she finished, a loud slap landed squarely on Jun Luoyan's face. My chest was heaving, my hand still trembling slightly from the slap. I stared unblinkingly at Jun Luoyan, my eyes filled with complex emotions, sorrow mixed with fury. Jun Luoyan, I'll say it one more time. This is not Daeyeon. You are not a princess, and definitely not an emperor. Who gave you permission to speak to my friends like this? You're not welcome here. Get out. Don't force me to call the police. Jun Luoyan held her cheek in disbelief. Xu Yuan, not only are you hiding another woman in the middle of the night, you actually hit me. Do you even know what it means to be husband and wife? What it means to be ruler and subject? I sneered, my chilling gaze piercing straight into her soul. What husband and wife? Don't forget, we have absolutely nothing to do with each other anymore. If you want to play princess, you should go back to Huo Zisheng. Instead of acting crazy, here. He might be happy to play the considerate, generous, good man for you. But I'm not. Hearing this, Jun Luoyan sighed helplessly. She gently rubbed her swelling cheek and said softly, Yu Yuan, I knew you were still mad about Huo Zisheng. With that, she raised 3 fingers in a placating gesture. I, Jun Luoyan, swear to heaven, in this life and the next, I only love you. Are you satisfied now? I laughed mockingly at her confident look. I looked at Jun Luoyan coldly, without a trace of emotion. I don't know how you got here, but I can tell you. That old locust tree in the courtyard, I set fire to it with my own hands. I haven't wanted to see you for a long time, and I've already decided to make a clean break with you. You don't belong here. I suggest you leave as soon as possible. After saying that, regardless of Jun Luoyan's reaction, I moved to close the door. Jun Luoyan still wanted to reach out and stop me, but Sun Yue pushed her away and slammed the door shut. Back inside, the freshly made butter rice cakes were already cold. The 3 of us sat in 3 different sections of the sofa, each silent. Finally, Liu Yi lost his patience and spoke up first. Xu Yuan, for the past 7 years, did you really date that weird woman? Who keeps talking about emperors and princesses? Hearing this, Sun Yue pursed her lips and looked at me intently, waiting for my answer. I rested my hands on my knees, fingers intertwined. With a dark face, I hesitated for a long time, and finally nodded. If I said she was from ancient times, would you think I'm crazy? Liu Yi's mouth hung open. The words he wanted to say stuck in his throat. He looked helplessly at Sun Yu. Sun Yu took a deep breath, as if fully mentally prepared. Looking at me with utter sincerity, she said softly, Zhu Yuan, we grew up together. How could we not believe you? It's just that the woman outside today was really too strange. If you want to, you can briefly tell us about your past with her. That way, we'll know how to help you. I let out a heavy breath and said deeply, she didn't lie, and she's not crazy. She really is the regent princess of the ancient Daong kingdom. Jun Luyan's position as regent princess was something I helped her seize with my own hands. 7 years ago, I accidentally bought a courtyard with an old locust tree. After renovating it and moving in, by chance, I discovered that the old locust tree could connect the past and present. I met Jun Luyan. At that time, she was just an unfavored princess living in the cold palace. I pitied her. I taught her modern knowledge, gave her modern supplies, helped her win favor with her father, the emperor, step by step, ascending to the position of regent princess. During this time, we went through a lot together, depending on each other for survival, entrusting our lives to one another. I fell in love with her. We got married. That's why I told you back then that I was married. It's just that I didn't expect the first thing she did after becoming regent princess was to marry another man. I recounted the events of the past. Sun Yu and Liu Yi listened carefully. Neither of them interrupted. So in the end, I decided to sell the house and burn the old locust tree. I thought that would sever the connection between the past and present. But I don't know how she managed to find me. I lowered my eyes, my expression gloomy. But the next second, my back was gently patted rhythmically. You didn't do anything wrong. Your love was sincere and passionate. Giving it to anyone would be wonderful. It's her fault for not cherishing it and missing out on you. Don't worry. Since you don't want to see her anymore, I definitely won't let her show up again. During this time, I'll stay by your side. Just do me a favor and take me in. Every word Liu Yi said was comforting. Sun Yue was beside me too, giving me a reassuring smile. Xu Yuan, don't worry. Liu Yi and I will both guard you. No one can force you to do anything you don't want to do. I don't care if she's Daong's princess or emperor. No one is allowed to hurt you. My heart ached. It's just 7 years. It's nothing. There will be many more 7 years in the future. I can't trap myself in that little courtyard forever, trapped beside an ancient person with no future. Liu Yi clapped his hands repeatedly and gave me a thumbs up. Good timing. I just got back and haven't really relaxed yet. I'll take you out to have a blast these next few days. Saying that, he didn't forget to glance at Sun Yue. Nightclubs, bars. Let's go crazy. The best way to get over a relationship is to start the next one. Sun Yue ignored Liu Ye's deliberate provocation. She just looked at me dotingly and smiled. Xu Yuan, don't worry. Growing up, whenever the three of us were together, there was never a time we weren't happy. We'll stay with you. No rush. Take your time to move on. Liu Yi looked at her, exasperated by her lack of ambition. The redness around my eyes still hadn't faded, but I forced a smile. Thank you. Having you guys by my side really puts me at ease. Sun Yue raised her hand, which she hadn't done in a long time. Don't rush to thank me. I have my own selfish motives too. Liu Yi is right. The best way to heal from a past relationship is to start the next one. So, Xu Yuan, do you want to consider me? I've hesitated for so long. I'm 7 years late. Are you willing to give me a chance? My expression froze. Just as I was about to speak, Sun Yu gently interrupted me. It's okay, Xu Yuan. You don't need to answer right away, whether you want to or not. I will always stay by your side. no matter in what capacity. And so the night passed. The next morning, I walked Sun Yue to the door. As soon as I opened it, I met Jun Luoyan's furious eyes. She angrily demanded, "Lu Xuan, how could you let a strange woman stay over? Do you have any sense of propriety and shame?" I sneered. Propriety and shame. Jun Luoyan, 7 years ago. If I hadn't let you, a strange woman, stay over, you would have starved to death long ago. Now that your belly is full, and you're in power, you lecture me about propriety and shame. Where were you back then? I'll say it one more time. You wrote the divorce paper with your own hands. It has the official seal. We have had absolutely nothing to do with each other for a long time. Even if you are the emperor of Daeyong, you have no jurisdiction over me. Have some tact. Stop bothering me. My cold attitude made Jun Luoyan panic inwardly. Her expression instantly changed. She tried to step forward and grab my hand, but Sun Yue stepped up and completely blocked her. I know you are a feudal, backward, ancient woman. Xu Yuan told us everything. You need time to adapt to modern rules. For example, commoners also have the right to choose who they love or don't love. And if you keep harassing him, you'll be arrested and put in jail. I know you might not understand it right away, but that's the reality. Today's society doesn't allow you to do whatever you please. Jun Luoyan lowered her head slightly, hands clenched into fists, and said nothing for a long time. She ignored Sun Yu's provocation, just looked past her, straight at me. Xu Yuan, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I misspoke. I was just anxious in the moment. I just love you too much. I can't stand seeing you intimate with anyone else. The only response she got was a cold, indifferent scoff. So, you can't stand seeing me intimate with anyone else. But I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to watch you date me while carrying Huo Ziseng's child. Jun Luoyan, I told you, being with me means one life, one love, just the two of us. If you can't do that, I'll leave at any time. Who gave you the confidence to deceive me again and again? You didn't really think that all men would flock to you because of your princess title and future as empress, did you? Jun Luoyan was left utterly speechless. That's right, the reason she liked me in the first place, wasn't it precisely because I was different from everyone else? I didn't care about her status. So, how could she now try to use her status to keep me? What I cared about was never Daeyong's power. It was her as a person. But, unfortunately, she disappointed me. While she was lost in thought, the door in front of her had closed again. Last night, she stood in this dark stairwell all night, separated by that impenetrable door. Jun Luoyan clenched her fists. Xu Yuan, I won't give up. Since I could come to the modern world, you can definitely go to ancient times too. I will definitely find a way back and make you return to my side. We will start over. I will fulfill all my promises, and then we will never be separated again. After that day, I didn't see Jun Luoyan again. In the day-to-day companionship, I gradually realized that I had different feelings for Sun Yu too. I just didn't expect that in just half a year, Jun Luoyan not only adapted to modern society's rules, but also transformed herself into a big boss capable of rivaling Sun Yu. After all, as someone who climbed step by step from a destitute, abandoned daughter to regent princess, she naturally had some shrewdness and tactics. When she appeared before me again, I didn't recognize her at first. She had shed her cumbersome ancient attire, changed into a dress, wearing high heels, exuding the aura of someone in power. She sat gracefully across from me. Xu Yuan, you once asked me if I was willing to stay in the modern world and live with you. I can answer you now. I am willing. Are you still willing to be with me? To be my husband? I frowned and looked over at Sun Yu, who had just come back from buying milk tea and was stopped by Jun Luyan's bodyguards. And on the other side of the table, Liu Ye, who was being forcefully held down by his shoulder siyas. In his seat, I looked at Jun Luoyan and said word by word, "I am not willing." Hearing my answer, Jun Luoyan didn't seem surprised. She just looked down and smiled, looking like she had expected it. She spread her hands, her voice unhurried. "It's okay, Xu Yuan. I will wait for you until you are willing. Besides, before we separated, you promised me yourself that you would wait for me. I believe you won't break your word." My lips tightened. I picked up the briefcase beside me and took out a seal box from IT. This seal box was exactly the one Jun Luyan had personally handed to me before leaving on her wedding day. "That day you said this tiger seal could command 300 troops. That it was your lifeline. You wanted me to hold on to it and wait for you. Now I'm returning it to you. Our past agreement is null and void." My voice was calm and cold. Expressionlessly, I pushed the tiger seal towards Jun Luyan. Jun Luyan pursed her red lips, sighed softly, and pushed the tiger seal back. Her eyes revealed a familiar grievance, but I was surprised to find that my heart no longer ached for her. I was surprised by my own change. Turns out, if you really want to let go of a 7-year relationship, it's really not that hard. Xu Yuan, do you really have to treat me this way? I know when I first came looking for you, I was anxious, and I said a lot of things I shouldn't have had. But that was all because I love you too much. I can't stand seeing you intimate with other women. What I promised you, I will definitely fulfill. I'm close to finding a way back to Dayong. Come back with me. I will ascend the throne immediately and make you my emperor consort." Hearing Jun Luoyan's words, I unconsciously frowned. How could she be so certain she'd ascend the throne soon? Leaving aside the fact that her father, the emperor, is still healthy. Just her brothers around her. None of them are easy to deal with. None of them are easy to deal with. Could it be? A bad premonition arose in my heart. I stared fixedly at Jun Luoyan, suddenly remembering a guess I once had. An ambitious person in power, like Jun Luoyan, if she could really move freely in the modern world, and find a way to travel between past and present, the consequences would be extremely unoptimistic. She couldn't be thinking of using modern means to forcefully seize the throne, could she? Over the years, although she pretended to be obedient and virtuous in front of the emperor, I knew she always had hatred in her heart. Thinking of this, my heart couldn't help but jump. Jun Luyan, many things you do in Dayong are already subject to many restrictions. Modern laws are only stricter. It's still uncertain whether you can go back now. Be careful playing with fire. Jun Luyan smiled nonchalantly. "Xu Yuan, I knew you still cared about me. Even though you say harsh words, you always love and care about me." She stood up and walked up to me, her eyes full of devotion. "Don't worry. I'm already familiar with the rules of modern society. I won't put us in danger. Just wait for me a little longer. In 7 days, when the 9 planets align at the Locust Tree Courtyard, I will take you home." For some reason, even though I was being gazed at affectionately by Jun Luoyan, I felt a chill slowly creeping up. The next second, Jun Luoyan's soft hand caressed my cheek. "Xu Yuan, don't be afraid of me. I really love you. Everything I'm doing is for our future, so that we can be together openly and forever. I promised you one life, one love, just us two. And I will definitely do it. Be a good boy and wait for me. Once I finish handling things here, I'll come take you away in 7 days." I had a premonition. If Jun Luoyan really took me away this time, I might never be able to return to the modern world for the rest of my life. Then, the fate waiting for me would only be to die trapped in the deep palace, my hands resting on my knees clenched tightly into fists. I retorted without backing down. I won't go with you. My friends are here. I will not go to Daeyong. Junluyan still had a gentle smile in her eyes. Shuyuan, stop throwing a tantrum. After saying that, she led a group of bodyguards and left in a grand manner. When Liu Yi and I got home, we both had heavy hearts. Liu Yi hugged a throw pillow on the sofa, sulking. This Junluyan, isn't she an ancient person? How did she learn things so fast? Starting a company, hiring bodyguards. Where did she get so much money? Right now, I don't care at all how Junluyan managed to reach her current position. What I'm worried about is, if she really found a way to connect the past and present, I'm afraid it will be an unprecedented catastrophe for both the modern world and Daeyong. As I was thinking, Liu Yi had already picked up the remote and turned on the TV. The news anchor below was broadcasting. This morning, an archaeological team found an ancient noble tomb complex, dating back about 10 years, located 75 kilometers in the suburbs of our city. Due to its age, there are no historical records for this tomb. It has been confirmed that all 23 excavated tombs were robbed. A large number of cultural relics are missing. Our city's public security organs have set up a special task force and are collaborating with the National Cultural Heritage Administration to investigate. Seeing the fallen stone still on the TV screen, I abruptly stood up, my eyes full of disbelief. Over the past 7 years, I've been to many places in Daeyong to help Junluyan seize the throne. I even specifically learned Daeyong's writing. I recognized it at a glance. That stone stele was the boundary marker of Daeyong's imperial city, because modern books recording ancient history never had any records about Daeyong. I always thought it was a dynasty from another world, not on the same timeline as the modern world. I also deduced that this might be the reason why Junluyan couldn't leave the Locust Tree courtyard in the modern world. But what if Daeyong and the modern world have merged? What changes would that cause? Will history or the world be destroyed? I stood frozen in place, trembling all over. A chill rose from the soles of my feet, chilling me to the core of my heart. Liu Yi noticed something was wrong with me, and asked with eyes full of concern, Shuyuan, what's wrong? I turned my head and looked at Liu Yi, my brows trembling. This is Daeyong's tomb complex. The stone stele on TV is the boundary marker of Daeyong's imperial city. I couldn't be mistaken. Hearing this, Liu Yi was also stunned. Then he immediately took out his phone to call the police. It must be that stinking scumbag Junluyan who did it. Everything was fine before she came to the modern world. As soon as she arrived, the tomb was robbed. A place that so many archaeologists hadn't found in, with no historical records at all. How could she just happen to stumble upon it? I was wondering where she got so much money in such a short time. Turns out she was digging up her own ancestors' graves. Before he even finished speaking, the call to the police was already connected. Liu Yi spoke quickly and urgently. I want to report a crime. That ancient tomb robbery case on the news just now. Junluyan definitely did it. Yes, absolutely her way. She suddenly has a massive amount of funds from unknown sources. You must investigate her thoroughly. After reporting to the police, Liu Yi sat on the edge of the sofa, still fuming. He gripped his phone. His brows furrowed tightly. This Junluyan, what exactly is she trying to do? And she even said in 7 days. When the 9 planets align, she's going to take you away. Taking a modern person to a feudal society. Is that right? No way. We have to find a way to stop her. I really hope the police arrest her soon, so she can't go out and harm people anymore. Right then, the doorbell rang. Liu Yi and my hearts jolted. Liu Yi instinctively stepped in front of me. He put a finger to his lips, making a shh gesture. Don't move. I'll go. He carefully crept to the door. Through the peephole, he saw it was Sun Yu, and instantly let out a sigh of relief. Liu Yi threw the door open. Why didn't you give us a heads up before coming? Sun Yue frowned, looking worried. I still couldn't stop worrying about Shu Yuan. How about you and Lu Yu? Move to my place for a while. After all, Jun Luoyan already knows this address. After saying that, she pursed her lips and looked at me hesitantly, but finally couldn't hold back and said, My people got news. Jun Luoyan has contacted people abroad and smuggled a large number of weapons. I'm afraid you might be in danger. My mind reeled upon hearing this. Right now I'm not worried about my own safety. I'm just worried. What if Jun Luoyan really takes all these modern weapons back to Dayong? What kind of disaster would that be for the people of Dayong? Undoubtedly she would achieve a crushing victory, but history would be fractured because of it. While I lowered my eyes in thought, Liu Yi had already packed the luggage at light speed, rushed over and grabbed my hand. Let's go, Xuan. Let's go hide at Sun Yue's place first. Liu Yi pulled hard, but couldn't move me. He turned around and looked at me in surprise, his eyes full of confusion. Let's go, Xu Yuan. What's wrong? I took a deep breath, and when I looked up, my eyes were full of resolution. I gently brushed Liu Yi's hand away. I'm sorry. Yezi, Sun Yue. I can't just leave like this. This whole thing started because of me, and I should be the one to end it. If 7 years ago, I hadn't had a moment of soft-heartedness and saved Jun Luoyan, none of these things would have happened. I've made up my mind. I will go to Dayong with her. Hearing this, Li and Sun Yu instantly panicked. Xu Yuan, don't be stupid. What can you do going to Dayong all alone? Feudal society eats people alive without spitting out the bones. We can't let you take this risk. Liu Yi spoke rapidly, holding onto my wrist tightly and refusing to let go. Sun Yue was so anxious, her eyes turned red. She had liked me for so many years, missed her chance and waited bitterly for 7 years. Now that she finally had a little opportunity, how could she allow me to leave with another woman, and to a place that treats human life like dirt? Sun Yue's eyes were red, her voice pleading. Xu Yuan, please, don't go. My heart felt tight, my nose stinging. I'm sorry, I've already decided. With that, I gently pushed Sun Yu and Lu Yi's hands away, turned around, struggling to control my emotions. From now on during Qingming, please pay respects to my parents for me. After saying that, I turned my back to Liu Yi and Sun Yu and sat on the sofa. You guys should go. For these last few days, I want to be alone and have some peace and quiet. Sun Yue choked back a sob, looking at my thin back. Okay, if this is your choice, I respect it. Liu Yi still wanted to say something, but Sun Yue shook her head to stop him and dragged him out of my house. With a clatter, the front door closed. The whole house quieted down. I raised my hand and wiped the cold tears from my face. My face was expressionless, but my gaze was incredibly firm. For the next few days, I crammed a massive amount of weapons knowledge through books and the internet. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. 7 days later, I sat alone on the sofa. The TV in front of me was broadcasting the once-in-a-millennium spectacle of the 9 planets aligning. The door lock turned behind me. Immediately after, footsteps echoed in the empty house. Then, Jun Luoyan's laughter came from above my head. Xu Yuan, I knew you would wait for me. I stood up with a cold face, putting distance between us. Her hand suddenly grasped empty air. Jun Luoyan suggestively rubbed her fingertips together and patiently coaxed Xuan, I know you're still mad at me. Don't worry, once we're back in Daeyong, I will definitely make it up to you. I ignored her words and just said coldly, let's go. Junluoyan didn't seem to expect me to be so compliant. She happily hugged me from behind, resting her face against my back. Xu Yuan, I missed you so much. This time, we will never be separated again. I was taken by Junluoyan to a warehouse in the suburbs. She held my hand tightly the entire way, afraid that, if she wasn't careful, I would disappear before her eyes again. Xu, that friend of yours calling the cops caused me a bit of trouble. Otherwise, we could have had a romantic candlelit dinner on the top floor of a skyscraper first, and then gone to the locust tree courtyard. I heard all the upper-class people here do that. I've learned a lot during this time. That Sun Yu, she's your playmate, right? She's all right, but still falls a bit short. I was in no mood to listen to her chit-chat. I quietly observed the goods throughout the entire warehouse. The hand resting at my side clenched tightly, a flash of determination crossing my eyes. I agreed to go with Junluoyan, just so I could completely destroy these weapons. Before leaving, she won't be taking a single thing from this warehouse. I'm in no mood to listen to you chit-chat. What did you put in these boxes? My hand was just about to lift a lid when Junluoyan pressed her hand down on mine. Be a good boy. These things have nothing to do with you. You don't need to care about what's inside. Xu Yuan, all you need to know is that we'll be back in Daeyong very soon, and you'll very soon be my one and only emperor consort.